Honourable Phil Goff.
Chairman, I listened very carefully to the explanation by the Maori Party as to why they've flip-flopped on their support for the amendment to this bill in my name, because they'd given me that undertaking to support it. And I have to tell the Maori Party this, Mr Chairman, they have been duped. They have been totally hoodwinked by what this government said. Let me use the first example that Te Ururoa Flavel used as to why they supported it. He said they've reduced the level of disablement you need for funeral expenses from 70% to 52%. Anyone that sat on that committee, and every one of the backbench over there were on that committee, knows that that is absolutely wrong. That the 70% of the old system is simply equivalent to 52% of the new system. It won't bring in one extra person for lump sum entitlement. Yet the member from the Maori Party comes in and says, look what we've got, we've lowered the entitlement ratio. It is exactly the same. They've been duped, Mr Chairman. They have been duped. And then we get this other hoary old excuse. We'll have a review in 2 years. You know what the National Party said to the Law Commission recommendation? They said they wouldn't bring this in at this time. And you know what the veterans told me around the country? Bloody typical. They said they'll wait till we're all dead and then they'll give us the entitlement. That's what our veterans think. 2 years. I've got in my hand here the regulatory impact statement that goes with this bill. What does it say? The veteran population as a whole will decline by 28% over the next 5 years. Delay, delay, delay until nobody is eligible. We heard this morning the sad news that a member of A Company of the 28th Maori Battalion died yesterday. You know how many veterans we have left in A Company from the 28th? No, just one. Just one left. Surely at this time we can make the gesture of saying to our veterans there's a handful left from the Second World War. We respect you, we respect what you did, and a very small gesture of appreciation is that we will meet your funeral costs on death to relieve your family of that obligation. Mr Chairman, this really is a disgrace. They'll review it in 2 years. $7.4 million, that's all it is. And Te Ururoa Flavel said, oh, but they're lifting the requirement of losing the pension after 13 weeks in hospital. I asked the question what the cost was. It was so small, Mr Chairman, that the answer is here in black and white. It says the amount is negligible. It probably doesn't even make 5 figures. They've given Te Ururoa Flavel the equivalent of beads and blankets. It's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. 7.4 million. I ask Alfred Naro, why is it that his government cannot afford the $7.4 million a year in the first year, declining by $1 million every 2 years, to honour our veterans? Mike Sabin, I want to thank Mike Sabin for his compliment, but if we follow Mike Sabin's logic, we can't give it now because they didn't get it before. We wouldn't be changing anything in this this veteran support bill. If we weren't to give something new to veterans today, we wouldn't have changed the Act at all. We've changed the Act because we believe the veterans deserve more. $7.4 million. You know, what you gave to Rio Tinto, what the government gave to Rio Tinto, Mr Chairman, would have paid the cost of that to the veterans for at least 4 years, over 4 years, probably 5 years because it's declining. But somehow, Rio Tinto is more important to this crony capitalist national government than honouring our vets. Honouring our vets, not because the Labor Party says it should have been done, but because the independent group set up to analyse what was going to the veterans said this is a change we should make. Because our veterans said this is the change they should make. Every one of those members in the back row there heard veteran after veteran come in and ask just for this gesture. You know, words are cheap. 7.4 million, we could have afforded it.
Members, we come to the vote on parts 3, 4 and 5. First, we have the Minister's amendments to parts 3, 4 and 5 as set out on SOP number 480. The question is that the Minister's amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that parts 3, 4 and 5 as amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we now move to part 6, and the question is that part 6 stand part. I call Ian Lees Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr Chairman. Part 6 is